Hi, this is Heather with Stamps Paper Love. I'm back with another process video for you today, and we're going to just get started. We have right now, what I had done before I started videotaping is just went through a bunch of papers that were kind of greens and yellows that I wanted to use for these two super sweet photos of my daughter, who was, I don't know, under 6 months at the time, fall after she was born. So she is 18 now. It's been a little while since I took the pictures, and it's also been a little while since I made this layout. I've had these video files sitting on my computer for quite some time and just needed to make the effort to get the voiceovers done and the videos edited and all of that good stuff. So right now I'm just layering up some different layers as photo mats, and then I will rough up the edges a little bit with that tool that I have in my hand right now. That tool, I love it and hate it at the same time. It seems like every time I use it, I get some area torn a little bit more than I was intending, which is great in some ways not so much. This paper that I'm gluing down to right now is so pretty, such a pretty basic gray paper. I'm not sure what collection it was from, but I just love that floral. And I'm just going to continue to layer up the photos. And I think the other one, I've got kind of some things behind it right now that I was auditioning a little bit, but they don't end up making the cut. And some of the video on this layout process was lost somewhere. I'm not exactly sure what happened to it, so some of the process is lost a little bit here. I'm trying to figure out if I want to put some of that fiber around the edge of the photo mat, and I end up deciding not to do it. I will use it a little bit later when I'm doing some embellishing. And I'm just kind of playing around with the papers because I'm not really sure what I want to use as a background, so I've kind of stopped with that little sweet tongue sticking out photo. Actually, she's got her tongue stuck out in both photos. It's a little easier to see on that bottom right corner one though. Here again, I'm just roughing up the edges of the paper. I definitely did a little bit more distressing on the back photo than on the front one, but it is super cute. And I used a lot of scraps, and I had a 6x6 pad that I hadn't used a whole lot of stuff out of yet, so I just kept going through everything that kind of coordinated. And here I'm adding the foam on the back of that picture that's kind of going to be the main focal point picture, but they're both super cute and super sweet, so I can't help but use them both. And so I'm going to glue that foam on there and then start kind of working on some other things behind these two photos. I've got it on the white, and then I just wanted a little bit more layering behind, so I'm going to go play with the scraps that I have sitting on my table and just keep adding things until I get it looking the way that I want it to look. And you know, sometimes it's a big trial and error process, and sometimes it comes together super fast and super easy. This one, I think I worked on this layout for, I don't know, a couple days anyway, in multiple sittings. So just trying to figure out how to bring it all together. In the end, it looks like it's a fairly simple layout, really. I mean, there's a few elements that play with the background pieces, but it really wasn't too complicated. It's primarily paper. There's not a whole lot of other techniques or anything like that going on the layout, which is used. It's supposed to be faster if you do that, but I am definitely not a fast scrapbooker. Lots and lots and lots of playing and changing things and trying this over here and trying that over there. just that little strip of green paper that I put back there goes through a few different changes throughout the whole video, so you'll definitely see me make some changes on that. Again, just roughing up the edges, making it look a little more distressed. At this point, I brought in those two kind of bubbly looking pieces of paper, and I'm trying to decide what I want the background to be. And I first started with that diamond pattern paper behind it, and then I had it on the white for a while, and I'm going to decide to go back to the white, but I'm going to trim off probably about an inch, maybe a little less than an inch on the two sides of that white piece of paper, so that I can have a pattern paper background behind all of those layers. And at this point I'm thinking I'm going to use that diamond pattern, but I don't end up using that, so you'll see in a minute me playing with some other options and making a decision to go with a really buttery yellow color, which is kind of on that striped paper too. That one's a little bit more burnt than buttery, but it all coordinates really nicely, so that's why I decided to go with the yellow and make it a little bit of a brighter cheery layout. The green was fine, I didn't dislike it, just would have been a little bit more of a dusty look to it, I guess. Here I came back and I have inked the edges of all of the little scraps of paper, so you can see it's kind of dark around the edges of those little bubble papers. And I inked pretty much everything that gets layered on the background, just because generally I really like how that inked look feels to me. It just feels kind of like you're highlighting each of those papers, and they pop off of the background a little bit better. So I'm just still playing around with the positioning of everything, and there we go, cutting off that green paper and inking on the bottom of it again to make it work. I don't know, I think I originally was going to put it behind that bubble type paper on the bottom, and then I didn't do that, so I had no choice but to kind of trim off a little bit to make it work a little bit better and not come below that top photo very much. And then you can see that striped paper has kind of some graphic on it that I'm positioning so that it ends up covered up by the other photo. And a couple other little odds and ends scraps that are going to go down in there in a second. I probably should have cut out some of this just because this winds up being a fairly long video, but it is as short as I could have made it. I am playing with editing, and on my iPad you can only speed up the video 2 times as fast as it was, and I think on my MacBook you can go up to 4 times as fast, which would be great, but my MacBook is giving me some issues right now, so I'm just using my iPad, and it's going to have to do the trick for me. And then I decide to ink up the edges of that white piece of paper as well. Again, it just to me gives it a little bit of extra attention on the paper. So there's that diamond paper, and then I bring in the yellow paper, and I just decide that I like that yellow paper quite a bit better. It's such a pretty yellow. I just couldn't resist using it. So I'm going to cut off the branding strip, and I think I end up gutting this paper too, which a lot of times I don't gut the papers just because I have so many papers in my stash that it just seems like you might as well just use it as a full sheet. But this piece of paper was so pretty, I just didn't want to waste a single bit of it. So I gutted it out here with my trimmer. And then I think I'm going to wind up using a little bit more of it to adjust my matting on the main photo a little bit. In a bit you'll see me do that. I of course cut through the one edge, the one little corner there a little bit more than I wanted to, so I think I kind of glued it back together. Doesn't really matter because I'm going to glue the white paper over the top, and you don't really see that area where it got cut through at all. My camera was having a little bit of trouble focusing, I guess, here, so apologize for that fading in and out that it's doing. I think the rest of the video is fine. It just had a little bit of trouble in that one part. I don't know if it was trying to focus on my my little adhesive runner there or what was going on, but it just was struggling with that focus for sure. So here we go again. I'm trying to just fiddle around and position those photos. I'm a slow decision maker when it comes to just sticking things down. So here I've committed to putting that photo right there, and now I'm going to fiddle around with this main photo a little bit and bring in some of that yellow, and I first think I'm going to put it behind that floral paper, and I just think it's a little bit too much with the yellow, or too mimicking the yellow background around the whole edge. So then I decided to pull up some of the mat, like to where that green paper, the green polka dot paper is, and I'm going to put the yellow behind that. So, here you are, having everything stuck down, and then I'm changing my mind about things. So then I put the green polka dot on the yellow polka dot and trim that up. And when I bring it back to place it on the floral mat, there's just some issues with the paper that is on there. And I end up having to trim that a little bit, and I cover up that paper that is on the floral. So, scrapbooking, you just do whatever it is you do. I thought maybe I could make it work with leaving it on there, and I just didn't like how it looked. So I pulled up that edge a little bit, trimmed it off, and then made sure that the yellow covered up that piece of paper completely. And I think at this point we jump to me having some of the embellishments in there. Again, some of the process of me deciding on what to do and what to place was lost. So I have some little ducky elements because she's in the little bathtub. So there is a ducky that came, there's two duckies that came from, I think, like deluxe cut. They were stickers or cut aparts or something. They were on like these tags, and I ended up fussy cutting out the little ducks and rearranging them so that they would work better for this layout. And I think that's what I'm kind of off screen fussing around with a little bit, putting that fiber around the little tag that I had, the ducky that is up top on, and gluing it back. So you can't really see me doing that because I'm kind of off camera there, but it will come back up here. And then I have a little chipboard piece that just says good, clean, fun to add to that tag. There's a brad jewel. It has a yellow jewel in the middle of it that I used over the tag hole. And then I'm playing around with this white acrylic heart piece, which it was so cute right there. And now that I have the layout completed, unfortunately the adhesive that I used, it either kind of disintegrated the paint that was used or whatever was used to create the heart, and so you can't really distinctly see the heart anymore. I don't know if it really compromised that ink or if it's just that the adhesive kind of blurred it out or what. It doesn't look as nice as it does on the video right now, so that's unfortunate. I might have to add something over the top of it if it really starts driving me crazy looking at it, because I don't really like the way it looks now, but I can't pull it off because it's all, glued down seriously, so I would have to just put something on there to cover it up or detract from that. And the hey there cutie, that was a little transparency, like Project Life card, and I added that light green bubble paper behind it because it just looked better that way. I mean, that's what's behind the card anyway, but it just didn't look real like it belonged, I guess. So I just added some more of that paper behind the transparency so it would look like it was part of that little title card. And I didn't end up calling it Hey There Cutie as a title because I'm going to add a chipboard word in a little bit. But that's what I decided to put there anyway, just for a little fun. So then I'm working in the lower corner here, and that little blue bow is just sitting around in a pile of die cuts, so I decided to put that on there. The ducky in the upper corner has that same color blue on it too, so I decided that was going to work okay. Then I had a little, I think it's Making Memories, a little frame that says all kinds of baby words on it, like angel, precious, heaven sent, miracle, etc. That was an acrylic frame, and I just backed it with some pale yellow paper and added a little ducky sticker. I think it's a Doodlebug ducky from one of their baby collections. Again, there's a little Brad in there, a couple little tab stickers, some other scraps of paper that make up that little cluster. And then I'm adding this label tag in here. I'm going to put just a little tiny bit of journaling on it, not much at all, just her name, and fall 2003, and just nestle it in there in that corner. So we're just about done. I don't think I added anything to it really after the video ends, so you'll pretty much see it the way it is, and then there's some still shots coming up at the end. The very last thing I'm going to do is add a little blue heart to the bottom of that label card. I generally add a little heart to every single layout. Sometimes I forget, but I have just a little tiny stamp that I usually add to each layout. It's part of the whole Stamps Paper Love thing, so definitely that way I'm using a stamp and a little bit of love with the heart. Oh, here we go with the chipboard word, smile. And I think after I glue that on, I'm just going to stamp that little heart, and then you'll see some still shots of the layout. And I really appreciate you watching. Please subscribe if you have not already. I'm just kind of getting this channel rolling, and I haven't been terribly consistent, which is completely my issue. But hopefully I will get things going a little bit more regularly soon. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the layout,